Osgood Perkins's Longlegs was one of those films that I didn't really dig into prior to viewing. I'd seen some promotional material, a marketing ploy showcasing Maika Monroe's supposed heartbeat during the first scene where she encounters the mysterious titular serial killer. I was intrigued enough to add the film to my list and ultimately my library just a few days before this writing. I'd seen many different outlets praising the film, seen it made to theaters near me, all the more escalating my expectations, which can always be dangerous. I try to go into films, shows, etc. as objectively as I can, and come out all the same. Ultimately, Longlegs disappointed me, but it has a lot going for it. The production of the film is excellent. Cinematography is very engaging and professional, even subversive at times, though whether that's deliberate or not, I'm admittedly unsure. Albeit while it is shot for the most part beautifully, I would say that they did lean a little too hard into an artistic presentation rather than a conventional one. There are shots that hold for a pretty prolonged period of time for no discernible reason, where you would expect to see something creepy or mysterious pop up or move in the background after a while, but literally nothing happens. The shot is just holding and zooming in for a long time on nothing happening, and then it cuts to the next shot of characters investigating. Performances are quite decent all around, and naturally Nicolas Cage stands out considerably. His makeup is clearly makeup and his prosthetics clearly prosthetics, but I didn't feel that these things took away from his exceptionally unsettling character. I could go so far as to give the benefit of the doubt and say that this character did these things to himself, or this is simply an alternate reality in which his peculiar appearance is naturally unnatural. In any case, he delivers a striking performance, with intriguing quirks that I very much enjoyed, such as randomly breaking into song or practically bursting into tears with a given sentence. Cage is easily the highlight of the film. Personally, while I found Maika Monroe's performance solid enough, I can't say I really cared for her in this role. Having portrayed the protagonist of It Follows, it feels to me that these characters are more or less the extent of her range. Again, she plays them decently enough, but I just don't find her all that convincing in such a setting. I could compare her to a Wes Anderson character living in a horror movie. As usual, there are many creepy and engaging moments in the film that are unfortunately watered down by the use of generic sound cues. Not your grandmother's screeching violins per se, but menacing orchestral hits that make scenes all too blatantly cinematic, where they otherwise would have been immersive and even frightening. But where the film falls flat the most is, in my opinion, the most important facet: the writing. The following sections of this review will contain spoilers, so if you are still interested in viewing the film and determining its qualities for yourself, I would advise leaving this piece so I don't ruin your experience any further. The protagonist, Special Agent Lee Harker, is recruited by her supervisor to investigate the Longlegs murders due to her demonstrated clairvoyance, which was tested specifically by the Federal Bureau of Investigation and led to her supervisor's intrigue, so she could use her abilities to find patterns the killer exhibits, and ultimately the killer himself. As the film progresses, Harker uncovers so much valuable information, literally the next day single-handedly cracking Longlegs' cipher and translating all of his messages that had been complete mystery since the 70s. But halfway through the film, her supervisor just abruptly shuts down her findings and proposals. Disregarding any prospect of a supernatural element to the events, he brushes off any implication of voodoo and storms away, despite the fact that he literally assigned Harker to this case because of her clairvoyance. The supernatural element of the film was also very confusing to me in itself. They imply that Longlegs constructed dolls with empty metal balls for brains that would be delivered to the victims' homes, and once delivered, the dolls would somehow sway the family to homicide? I guess because they claim the dolls literally allow the Abrahamic morning star Satan into the home to fuck with people? It can be somewhat interpreted that Longlegs and his accomplice, who is revealed to in fact be Harker's own mother, are just insane, given that nothing supernatural is actually witnessed by anyone in the film aside from them. But that makes things all the more confusing to me. Other characters are very clearly influenced by something at points. In the climax of the film, Harker's supervisor's family all sit in their living room with her mother and appear to be struggling as they murder one another. But if they're being possessed, why did this take place immediately despite the doll having just been delivered by Harker's mother? Why does her mother need to remain there after delivering said doll? Why does Harker need to be there? Why did Harker receive the phone call to intervene at the child's birthday party to begin with? Also, who made that call? Satan? There are many unanswered questions and details that I feel really require elaboration. Parker repeatedly sees flashes of snakes throughout the film, which to my recollection is never explained. When Harker confronts her mother shoots the head of a doll resembling her that she was apparently gifted as a child, which causes her to collapse and recall, or hallucinate, or something. Her mother telling her the entire story of how she helped Longlegs deliver the dolls to the victims, so Satan wouldn't take her daughter. Why didn't the doll manipulate Harker? Her mother tells her that she's now free, but what exactly was she freed from? If all the doll did was fuck with her memory, it still didn't change anything. She didn't gain any knowledge that she didn't have prior to her mother destroying the doll. She already knew her mother was the accomplice. She was literally confronting her after she killed someone in front of her. Harker didn't commit any acts throughout the film that weren't of her own volition. How was she freed? Why the snakes? Longlegs definitely had some interesting executions and some quality facets overall from a technical perspective, and I definitely appreciated what it had to offer in that regard. But with weak and predictable twists, frustrating character dialogue and activities, and topped with a cringeworthy because hail Satan motive, it just isn't a film that stands above the rest for me. It will not be remaining in my library. That's my piece.
Hey! Excuse me. Who are you and why are you talking to my kid?
Let me in now.